You can't go wrong with Gorky.
There is no human bond stronger than that between mother and child.
Now keep looking straight at this camera.
No laughing.
In 1926, Arshile Gorky made this painting from a photograph taken in 1912 in Armenia.
Okay, shh. No laughing. No laughing. Shh. Try and stand up over here like this without laughing.
In 1919, his beloved mother perished from starvation in the aftermath of the Armenian genocide. The artist would be haunted by his homeland's tragic history for the rest of his life. Last month, I and my special someone, Nancy, she hates the word wife, left our island paradise of Ocean City to drive up to Philadelphia and see the Arshile Gorky show. Little did we know that we were in for an absolutely splendid day. Not only would we be seeing a marvelous retrospective of one of the great American artists of the 20th century, but we would get to spend quality time with two separate but equally spectacular groups of people. There was a flock of artists and a herd of Armenians. And by the day's end, I would have exercised my powers of matchmaking to induct all of these people into that estimable society known as AFJANT, the Associated Friends of John and Nancy Thornton.
The Three Musketeers.
All right, so what did you guys learn from the Gorky show?
Sensitivity of line.
Sensitivity of line, that's a good one. We'll come back. Headgear.
Just think before I speak in front of your camera.
Do some Armenian peasant dances. Mag?
I have to decline. I'm sorry.
Catch the lamb. Catch the... Isn't that an Armenian peasant dance? Cacciatorian, the lamb? No? No. Stuff the grape leaf? No, that's not one.
I was miffed at first when I learned that filming inside the Gorky show was strictly verboten. I thought at first that I might have to settle for the Gorky reproductions in the museum shop. And while I like a good Gorky coffee mug or Gorky t-shirt as much as the next person, I was not convinced that this was the best way to showcase his art.
Have you guys been selling lots of Gorky stuff?
Good amount, yeah.
Mostly books or?
Yeah, mostly books.
Any Gorky jackets yet?
No.
No Gorky jackets?
No.
Last week, I found out that the art school where I teach had bought the wonderful, but too expensive for me, catalog from the show. So, Bob's your uncle, I checked it out and captured lots of wonderful images right from the book with my video camera. You gotta love this digital technology.
And what is your name, miss?
Princess Otas of the Nile.
And why are you here?
For the love of art. I came to see 180 works of Arshile Gorky.
In all seriousness, what do you think of the show?
I'm overwhelmed. I had to actually stop because I was completely saturated. It's a fantastic show. It's one of the things I love about this show is the way that he interacts with the art of some of the artists he admired greatly. Not so much in a copying, derivative way, but in a dialogue and a reinterpretation.
Gorky was an unusual artist in many respects. Rather than immediately seeking an original vision, he spent decades imitating and learning from various modern masters. He started with Cézanne, and it really is hard to tell some of his paintings from those of his idol. Next came a long and painful apprenticeship to Picasso. After Picasso, it was Joan Miró. And then he became friends with a Chilean artist, Roberto Matta, who did more than anyone to start Gorky painting with his own original style and voice.
He progresses for many years methodically in this way, and then to see the point at which he bursts into himself is incredible. There's a kind of recapturing of decades of art history and a rebirthing of everything that he had learned and seen and experienced and lost.
There's a bit of a sad irony there as well, because Matta was also implicated in one of a series of agonies that befell Gorky in the late 1940s. He was already haunted by his experience in the Armenian genocide.
Was he involved in the Armenian genocide, or was it his family?
Yes, he was. I mean, he escaped, but I believe one of his relatives was nailed to a church door.
Oh, God.
But just as he was becoming really famous and doing highly innovative work, he got rectal cancer, his studio burned down, his wife had an affair with Matta and then left him, and he broke his neck in a car accident. All of this was too much, and in 1948, Gorky hung himself. Now, I hate to feed into this mythology of the suffering artist, creating beauty for the world out of his abject misery. Even for Gorky, life wasn't all bad. Despite his wife's infidelity, he was no slouch in the sex department. As evidence, I submit this picture of one of his many girlfriends, a Miss Corinne West. I bet he got some pretty good release from his melancholy when they shared some private time.
I think Gorky did have a sense of humor. There's a picture of Gorky leapfrogging over his students back in the 20s, 30s, early 30s.
You asked if Gorky had a sense of humor, and I said somewhat humorously, he did between 1943 and 1946. Or so it seems. There's just a lightness in his work there that you don't really see at any other time in his life. It's as though he's escaped the shackles of his own history.
Sato Mugalian's brother David is one of the best friends I have ever had. He once kind of saved my life by introducing me to the philosopher Epictetus when I was on the point of losing my mind. Dave and I worked together for years at an art school, but eventually he took a different job in Los Angeles and left Philadelphia. But before leaving, he gave me a book called Black Dog of Fate by Peter Balakian. Every American knows about the Holocaust, but far too few of us understand what happened to the Armenians at the hands of the Turks in the early part of the 20th century. Black Dog of Fate should be mandatory reading.
John, give me a camera. What did you learn?
Okay.
Can we do it? What did you learn, John?
I learned that you cannot escape history, that the Armenian genocide lives on to the very day. We can never forget this, and we cannot diminish it. And we should be cognizant of the suffering of these wonderful people.